if we haven't anchored and honored ourselves inside of creation energy, we go straight into planning energy. Most times that planning energy comes from the illusion that we're making something happen. Welcome, bienvenue, bonjour to the Beautiful Soul-Led Life podcast. For women who desire to awaken their heartfelt desires, trust themselves fully, and connect with their soul's purpose through beauty. On y va. Let's go. Hello, bonjour, and welcome to the Beautiful Soul-Led Life podcast. This is Tara Marino. Happy 2024. How are you? My family and I just got back last night. My husband is a rock star. We drove from Miami to the Outer Banks, and we got stuck in traffic, I think, in every city. In Miami, in Fort Lauderdale, in Jacksonville. Took us 17 and a half hours to get home. We got home at like 1:30 in the morning. I don't love driving in the car for that long, but I do love sleeping in my own bed and waking up in my own bed. All right, so I have a very, very special episode for you today. Let me organize myself. If you are listening to the pod on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to a pod, hello, bonjour. I am wearing a cashmere jumpsuit that I slept in. 1:30 in the morning, I changed my clothes. I got in a cashmere jumpsuit, and it is now time of this recording, 3:30. I'm still in my cashmere jumpsuit. It's gray with a little bit of white piping. It's so cute, comfy. I think it's from Somersault or something like that. And a mauve black blazer. That's the vibe for right now. If you can see me on YouTube, then you know what we're looking like today. I think it's fun, if you're listening, to have a little bit of a visual of what things are looking like, but it doesn't really matter. It's just fun. It's just fun for me. All right, so what we're going to talk about today and what we're going to settle into together is a really new level inside of Elegant Femme. So I spent a lot of the end of 2023 in deep reflection, as I think really we all do. And yet for me, this felt much different than anything I've ever experienced before. There was a spaciousness in my formula. There was a calm in my formula that I haven't felt before. There was an ease, I'm using all the words that, we're all familiar with, and that, I find it interesting that we can utilize the same word, and yet inside of us, it can be a different vibrational frequency. It can hit differently than it has before. So it's hard for me to express in new words the way that I was feeling at the end of 2023. There was a knowing inside of me that things not only were going to change for me, but that they already had changed for me. There was a real clear awareness and experience of myself as different and simultaneously as more of who I am. And it's a beautiful feeling. And as we moved into 2024, the morning of 2024, I felt an additional level of commitment and personal devotion to my power and to my ability to choose. And I'm sharing that with you because whether or not you can feel it, certainly tend that you can, but whether or not you can feel it, I will be infusing that feeling into everything that I'm co-creating inside of Elegant Femme this year, right? Naturally. And so I share that to start off this beautiful first podcast of 2024 with an anchoring inside of that energy and an awareness as to where you are inside of yourself. It is very, very easy to get swept up in planning, in figuring it out, in the, what do they even call them? Resolutions. It's been so long since I set a New Year's resolution that I don't even know what they're called anymore. On New Year's Eve, we went to the Four Seasons in Miami, the four of us. We sat outside. It was so beautiful. And at the end of the dinner, we set our intention for 2024 and we set our themes for 2024 and we honored it together as a family in a really beautiful way. So, what I am naming this podcast is Stop Planning and Do This Instead. Breathe into that with me for a minute. Stop planning and do this instead. See how you reacted to that. Maybe there was a little relief of like, oh, good, I don't have to plan. And maybe there was a little anxiety of like, well, what the heck am I going to do instead? So just feel into first and foremost the way you're relating to that inside of yourself as we move into today's episode. Because my intention is to share with you some really beautiful nuances and opportunities inside of the conversation that we're having inside of Elegant Femme and of course in our lives and beyond and the whole thing. It's all connected. And to really gift a lot of space in what's available, what's really truly available for all of us. So with that, a lot of us have been taught to plan, right? A lot of us have been taught to plan. A lot of us have planned the majority of our lives. And it's not that planning's bad. And it's not that planning doesn't work. I would say that planning is just, in my experience, limited. And there are a couple of things about planning that I want to bring forward today with the intention that it creates actually more space, even more space. So if you're thinking as I say that, well, planning does create space for me, that's beautiful. Regardless of that, my intention is to create even more space. If the relationship you have with planning is a little extreme in that it feels like sometimes it creates space, but it feels like other times that it creates anxiety or it creates tightness or it creates contraction, this will create space for you as well. So no matter where you are on the spectrum of your relationship with planning, my intention is that this conversation today creates space. And it creates space for you to move into 2024 in a way that is so valuable, so authentic, so abundant, so congruent, and so relaxed. Yes. All right. So most planning in the way that most of us have done it is based on control. So feel that in your formula for a minute. Have you ever gotten a new planner, right? Like the Franklin Covey planner, which I love Franklin Covey, right? Or any planner. Have you ever, I'm thinking of the days when we used to go into bookstores, which I love, by the way. Gone into a bookstore, gone into a Barnes & Noble, gone into any kind of bookstore and just looked at the planners and been like, oh, right? Have you felt a level of excitement rush through you, right? Again, there's nothing wrong with this. Just feel into your relationship with it. Have you ever been addicted to planners and the planning process? Like so much so where maybe you have more than one planner for the same year. You just gather planners. Maybe you plan obsessively about things. You get out all the stickies, all the highlighters, all the stickers. And again, there's nothing wrong with this. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this. Just notice what's coming up inside of you as I say this. A lot of planning is based on the feeling of control, fear, and protection. It's an unconscious way to escape the present. Now, again, there is nothing wrong with planning. However, if it isn't based in some specific elements, then it will be a form of protection, control, and a way to try and override fear. When you move into the conversation of planning, it's all about the future. Right? We don't plan what we're doing in the moment. We're doing it in the moment. We're in the moment with the thing. But if we're in the moment with the thing and we're planning for the next moment or the next moment or the next moment or the next week or the next year, we're a mess inside. Right? We've all had that experience where the thinking and the planning just gets so overwhelming that we're not experiencing. We're in planning. And we do that when we're trying to control, when we're trying to protect. Fear, and it comes from a place of fear. Okay. Versus the feeling of expansion, allowing, and enjoying. Now, you might say to me, Tara, I enjoy my sticky notes and my stickers and my highlighters. I enjoy it. I totally enjoy it. And that's fabulous. That means you're in an aligned energy with it. It also means something else is going on. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute. So, I'm going to share with you today that it doesn't mean that you don't plan, right? Or that you don't ever put anything in your calendar, or that you don't ever do anything with dates. But if that's all you're doing and you're not anchoring and honoring some really key elements before you plan, and even as you plan, you're going to be really, really limited, not only in the opportunity that's here for you this year, but the feeling of surrender and authenticity and joy that can come from this particular thing. All right. So if this is done in the way that we're going to talk about it today, you have the ability to let go of the obsession with planning and move into a core component and allow a foundational part of your formula to change everything. Everything, everything. Ready? So stop planning and start doing this instead. Creation. Creation. Stop planning and start creating. Creation happens in the present. Creation doesn't happen when you're planning. So when I said, if you're listening and you're saying, oh my gosh, but I enjoy my stickies and I enjoy my highlighters and I enjoy you're in creation mode. Now, does that creation mode support you in planning? Mm-hmm. You're in the present with it. Okay, so feel that for a minute. So creation happens in the present. So as we move into the conversation today, we're going to move through an exercise to see where you're currently relating to some really key elements that support you in creation energy and what's available to you when you reside in creation energy and you plan from that perspective. Okay? So I have my notes if you're seeing me on camera. My little Elegant Femme. These things are beautiful, by the way. I don't know if you can see them. There's all linen paper inside. We have brand new Elegant Femme notebooks. I am obsessed. They write so beautifully. Like, I love my pencils. Oh, and they erase. It's linen. Oh, so yummy. Okay, so I have my Elegant Femme notebook and not my glasses. So instead of trying to hide it, I'm going to do the thing that I used to make fun of my mother. Like, hold the menu across the table so she can see it. My kids do that to me now. All right. So creation energy. Okay, we're in the creation conversation. Where do you feel creation in your body? And how does it feel? How does creation feel? Where do you feel creation in your body? And do you have any conflicting emotions concerning creation? Simple yes or no. Just see where you're resonating and where you're residing inside of yourself. What about your ability to create? And your ability to co-create? What does that bring up inside? Your ability to create is not what you can make happen. Which, when we go into planning mode, is very often where we're residing in ourselves. If we haven't anchored and honored ourselves inside of creation energy, we go straight into planning energy. Most times that planning energy comes from the illusion that we're making something happen. If we write it down, if we plan it, if we think of all the scenarios, if we come up with all the steps, we can control the situation and we are guaranteed to make it happen. If you've experienced that before And if you have been disappointed with that experience, with the end result of that experience, then I'm going to invite you to really listen very, very intentionally to what I'm sharing with you. It's not the forcing, it's not the ABC, right? That's not creation energy. The planning that we talked about and that we referring to in that energy without creation creates that illusion of safety, control, and protection. And it's so easy to get swept up in this illusion, especially this time of year. Especially this time of year. This is why I really don't go back. I don't know. That's so funny to even say it that way because I'm just changing my whole relationship with that as well. I was going to say I don't even go back to work, but it's not even like that. It's like the easing into the new year is something that's incredibly important to me. So the emails of, make 2024 the best and the planning and the this and the that, like, no, 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 not without a very, very, very intentional and conscious foundational component that I believe requires a specific energy. So we're going to get into that today. All right. That feeling of control, of protection, of safety energy that planning can create is why so many of us have this love-hate relationship with planning. So if you find yourself in that space where you can get really excited and almost in an addictive energy with planning, and then you hate it, and then it's that energy of love-hate. So creation requires some key elements. Creation requires trust. Trusting yourself, trusting life, trusting your power to choose, and trusting your intuition. Creation requires those elements: trusting yourself, your life, your power to choose, and your intuition. In order to trust yourself, your life, your power to choose, and your intuition, you must become aware of yourself, of life, of your power, and your intuition. So that's what we're going to move into today. We're going to move into right now a very, very simple exercise for you to become aware of these elements: trusting yourself, life, power, and your intuition. Inside of that, I want to say this exercise can take us quite deep. So it's up to you. Follow your own inner knowing around it. If you're driving, be aware of how deep you want to go. Like, just be aware of that. I do want to share with you that we are going to be taking it quite deeper together. On January 13th, we're going to be holding our famous Sensual Creation Day that was created over a decade ago now because of my love-hate relationship with planning. This ping-ponging that I would do of like getting obsessed with my Franken-Covey calendar and then at some point even forgetting where I put it because I felt too constrained and constricted by the planning and I wanted to feel open and free. The element that was missing inside of that was creation. And in fact, side note, for the longest time we called Sensual Creation Day Sensual Planning Day until I moved out of the planning idea and energy and frequency completely and honored this for what it is, which is a sensual creation day. And from there, elements of planning move into the next step, but not before we set a specific foundation together. Inside a sensual creation day, you will have my support in a really beautiful, powerful process to co-create your year in a way that creates more abundance, more beauty, more peace, more relaxation, and more allowing in your life, no matter what. No matter what. And we're doing it in a very, very special way this year. So we'll make sure that the Sensual Creation Day, actually right now, even elegantfemme.com/SCD, S as in sensual, C as in creation, D as in day, SCD. We'll put it in the bottom in the show notes. you can go there and make sure that you sign up. It's a free process. It's stunning, stunning, stunning. Women go crazy, and we're doing something special this year. So I want to let you know that that's going to be available to you, and we're going to be infusing all of the elements that I'm speaking about today. Trusting yourself, trusting life, trusting your power to choose, and trusting your intuition inside of that process, so that you're going to leave with truly the creation of the first 6 months, potentially beyond. You can take the process further if you would like, of 2024. So it's really magical. So here's how we're going to start. Go ahead and close your eyes. Honor yourself. Close your eyes so that you can go inside and feel this process. Our intention is to invoke awareness in the most beautiful, easeful, graceful way in support of the highest good. So begin to feel yourself calm down, breathe, enter inside, and become aware of yourself. As you become aware of yourself, what do you become aware of? You are not your body or your thoughts or your identity. So what do you become aware of? What do you feel inside? Continue to breathe and feel. Feel yourself. Become aware of yourself. And now, become aware of life. Aware that you are life. Beyond the physical. And yet you have chosen a particular physical experience. How does life feel inside of you? And now become aware of your power and your power to choose. What does it feel like inside of you? Your power and your power to choose. You might notice a particular part of your body that responds or that you feel your power in. So again, you're becoming aware of your power and you're becoming aware of your power to choose. Continuing to breathe, continuing to allow the energy to move through you, continuing to allow your energy to expand. So allow the breath to support you as I'm asking you these questions. Become aware of your intuition. Listen. Breathe in and out. Listen to what your intuition is sharing with you. Listen. If it feels good, I encourage you to keep your eyes closed as we're completing the podcast. Spend 3 to 5 minutes in silence, feeling you, your life, your power, and your intuition. We often overlook the subtle internal awarenesses that change everything on the external. Your intimacy with these elements greatly supports your relationship with creation. So continuing to breathe in and breathe out, feeling you, your life, your power, and your intuition. As I shared with you earlier, we're going to be spending a gorgeous session on January 13th of allowing these elements to move into your life in 2024. And let me be clear, actually, allowing yourself to be aware of these elements in your life in 2024 because they're already here. We're not bringing them in. We're bringing the awareness forward of these elements so that you can utilize them in an extraordinary way to co-create in 2024 in a way that's meaningful, in a way that allows you to experience more peace, more joy, more expansion, more beauty, and more abundance, no matter what. Continuing to breathe, continuing to allow yourself to be present with your life, yourself, your power, and your intuition. Share with me anything that's come forward for you from this episode. I love to hear it. Find us on Instagram. All of that is in the show notes. And share with me any kind of intention that you have for 2024. And if you're going to be joining us on Sensual Creation Day, I'm sending you so much love and welcome to 2024.
Thank you so much. Merci for listening to the Beautiful Soul-Led Life podcast. I would love if this message served you, that you support it and share it with other women who might benefit from really having their lives in balance with their femme types. And if you can leave a comment, do a review. I love reading every single one of them. And I would adore if you could take a snapshot of yourself wherever you listen to this episode and post it on social media. My Instagram is Elegant Femme 1, and I'd love to see you, share you, and just celebrate with you as you are moving into creating, experiencing, and claiming your own beautiful soul-led life.